guys, today we are doing your third least favorite subject from middle school, history, kind of. So, as you've probably read the title, you know this is something different, where basically we are redoing history because something must have gone wrong with history. Whoever created the world was not doing it right. So, I have created this beautiful world. I know it's better than the real world. And today we are simulating the entire world. Well, one part of it. If this video gets 3 likes, we will do another video. And yeah, so basically this is just a civilization thing. And obviously tribes start over here, but the first towns start over here, start developing around the river and the, ocean. But right now it's not really anything big. And they obviously need to find more fish, get more fish, because they are starting to grow and do not have enough food. Now this is around year 1. Something probably hopefully popped up. Day one, or year 1, let's say. And they've started developing around the Bobsnop River. And the Red Kingdom is where they have made a language. Now, this language is very poorly made. It's not very good, but it is very good. And as this is the Blue Kingdom, or Red Kingdom, they know how to make a king emote and laugh at the enemy, which does not exist at the time, so that was a weird reference. And as the years tick by, they, expand a little bit to see what's out here, and they don't see any of this at all, because this is an entire world. But then, as some of the other places start developing, there's a new place thing that is happening. Now this place, because the tribes were located here, they started, and the travelers got a slight little place over here, nothing major. So the Red Kingdom is much bigger. And as this is, early, 5000 BC kind of stuff, so they start expanding. And at this point, it's been a few decades of developing. And at this point, their major city down here has started to grow. So, has started to grow, right? So, they have started to, get there. There it is. They have developed the capital, which would actually be more about there. And yes, it is on both sides of the city, or river. So they have developed this, not necessarily farming yet, it's about to get to farming. They haven't developed that yet. So now they're basically just fishing. And as this is kind of on the equator, not necessarily, it gets cold during the winter, basically. And as this is basically Asia, let's be real, there's not as much wood. There's, bamboo or something, which is, I'm guessing, is not as good at lighting stuff. So they aren't surviving very well, and will start actually being bad and dying a lot, which is an L. And yeah, so this, however, who has a lot of access to wood and such, start developing around the river, and mainly around this section where it's more fertile. They start growing much more and start developing their major city, or the capital. Now, so far, not much has really started happening until in the year 4090 or 82, a woman named Skibbity discovers farming. Now, up until this point, the Red Empire is only this far, and they've only been able to develop this far based on, a few animals that migrate from this in the winter to over here in the summer, and fish. That's all they've been surviving off, and maybe some berries, but they are not doing too good. But the problem is, this woman is not from Red, she's from Blue. So, as they now learn about farming, and the area around the Blue becomes even more important, they start going all over the Blue space, and they are growing much faster than the Red Empire. That doesn't matter right now, at least. But at some point, the Red Kingdom is realizing that they don't have enough food, so they send out giant nomadic parties of people that slowly get over here. And it takes a few years for this to happen. And at the same time, as the Blue Kingdom develops, they start edging closer too. Now, they are fueled by food, and there's a scientific revolution that came with the extra food. So now they've discovered stuff like stone. Let's say they've discovered how to make more complicated stone tools and how to chisel and stuff. And at the same time, the Red is inching closer, trying to find something, until they meet, and the people exploring from there, and the Red Empire, finally touch each other. Ayo. And at this point, the Blue Empire is a lot more rich. The Red Empire may have started earlier, but they do not have the same amount of power. But Blue transports their knowledge into Red. So after this knowledge, they rapidly expand because they have more room across water, and they start expanding around the river. Now, at this point, they do not have much, but at some point, Red discovers a new phenomenon. Copper, let's say. They figured out that if you smelt it down and add a little bit of rocks and quartz and a bunch of other stuff that I don't care about, then you get hard stuff. And this is very important because at this point, blue is still more powerful than red. But you may be thinking, oh, so they go to war. No, that's not what happens. What does happen, however, is they develop a trade route from here to the other capital. You may ask, how do they develop a trade route so early? To that I say, shut up. And yeah, so this is a major thing that will egg on stuff that will happen in the future, right? So, let's get to our country building thing. But Red has already, stretched expanding their population thin, developing this. And at this point, people start developing wealth. And not just in food, in minerals and such. And they pass down this wealth to their kids. And at some point, they developed currency. So now, there's people that are wealthy. And if you know about people who are wealthy, they suck. So, yeah, there's, bad stuff now or something. I don't know. But anyway, they try to expand down to get, or there's rulers now, that's what I'm trying to say, and they expand down to reach the ocean that they have heard is down there from the Red Kingdom. Now, they are somewhat connected still. They are, but they have two different forms of rulers. They have the Red Kingdom, which has one ruler that is super wealthy, and it's a monarchy, basically. And the Blue Kingdom, which has seven, as you may know from Survivor if you watched that. Several means seven, so they have several leaders that lead the land. And the blue people start arguing with the blue people. Now, it isn't much yet, but it does start getting a little bit more heated in a little bit. So, they both start, developing land around the trade route because of stuff, I don't know. But then, a hurricane or a tornado rushes from over here. And this is one of the first natural disasters that has really shook the land, because at this point most of the earth is kind of that they have settled on is it's not on any fault lines, it's not on any fault lines because the fault line goes around here. It's very hilly, so they haven't experienced much natural disasters in the let's say 100 years. And as you may know, early people develop religions based on usually the elements, or if you watch stupid History Channel stuff, aliens are the real gods. And here's the thing. After the tornado, the god of wind from the Blue Kingdom, who is believed more through, also the religion is much more in the Blue Kingdom than the Red Kingdom. the Red Kingdom believes in a one true God, or Jesus, Cheez-It crust. They believe in Cheez-It crust, and they believe in the several gods, which you also know is seven. The seven gods, which is the wind, the water, the water, the water, and the water. And like 2 other waters. So they start beefing, and they do not like each other anymore. Which results in our first. It did X out my recording. Fantastic. So we're just gonna go in here. We're going to roll this. And as you can see, there's stuff attributed with it. So win 75%. That is a lot. So that is the result. And fantastically, it stopped recording again, which is very fun. I forgot to say this, but it's the Blue Kingdom going towards the Red Kingdom. So basically what happens is, since it's like 75%, maybe we don't do that one, but they take out all of this land, kind of paralleling the trade route and also going up here, and the trade route is severed, so it's not here anymore, right? But then the highly religious people of here say, hey, that's kind of mean, and the leaders are like, whatever, we don't care, cry about it. So then there's a revolution in the blue place, and a new kingdom emerges along the bottom area, and this will be a dark green color because I can, and it is all down here. So this video is getting pretty long probably by now, and they take a giant chunk out of here. Now, after that war, called the Bjmishme War, the place is kind of shook. Because it is. I think that was way more than should have been. Whatever. So this giant place down here has, or whatever, the Blue Kingdom still has a big chunk over here. Now, it takes about 100 years for trade routes to reassume. Now, in this time, there hasn't been much discoveries. They figured out how to refine that copper a tiny bit better, but other than that, there hasn't been too many advancements. And we're still in the Copper Age, or Bronze, whatever. We're still in an age. So this is whenever it's like 2000, 3000 BC, let's say. That sounds about right. Now, the world has become a little bit more strained. Now, the Green Kingdom is atheist because, I don't know, because of what the Blue Kingdom did. They believe that was not, they don't like the gods anymore because they didn't they didn't strike down the Blue Kingdom. They didn't do the right thing or whatever. So yeah, the Green Kingdom is atheist. And after all this, after the tornado and all that, kingdoms start to resume to normal. So there starts expansion of Red, which is funny enough, it's the worst kingdom right now. So it starts beefing up its stuff over here. And around this time, well, it's probably a long time before that, but we don't care. This is a different world entirely. Horses starts to be tamed. And yes, I know copper tools were not invented before horse taming, but I don't care. And the thing is, I don't care. So yeah, horses start to be tamed. And all of which was discovered by Red Team, right? Now, they know that there's water over here. And they know that there's water over here. But they know that there's a river over here, so they think, by their logic, that there's probably a river over here. Or something. Well, and they start expanding along the river both ways. Very slight ships, but, you know, they start traveling. Now, this takes a few decades, but they reach a river over here, right? And then they start traveling along it. Now, this entire area is very, very loosely ruled by the person who's still over here. Well, as they are still being taxed. Oh, and also these people just travel over here or whatever. This is more just woodland plains and stuff, so they start herding beef or whatever. Who cares? And anyway, this place, you know, isn't very developed, but it still gets taxed by the Red Kingdom. And the people living there, which are mostly poor, start saying no taxation without representation, even though this isn't English. This is old dialect from a game, probably, you know, that somebody probably knows the name of the game that had like an entire linguist dude. Now, this entire place, we'll try keeping it close to red. Say like that. And they basically don't like the Red's rule. So they break off from the Red Kingdom. And that is the final major event of the, hold on. Their thing is right about there. That was the major event, final major event of the episode. Tell me in the comments if you liked the video. It was the best video ever. And unsubscribe and, you know, do the YouTube things. Don't ring that bell. And goodbye, Sigmas that don't like this topic, who have still watched and have already clicked off. I will pay you $50 if you are still here. And goodbye.